right, everyone, welcome back to In the Pocket series. Today we're going to look at the song from MUTEMATH called Quarantine. You know, I hadn't listened to this song in quite some time, and I forgot just how crazy this song is, how many parts and tempo changes and feels and energy that it just would bring forth. I'm so happy that this song made the cut on the Odd Soul record. Odd Soul is definitely my favorite MUTEMATH record. I had the most fun creating it. We branched out into more 60s and 70s rock and funk influences like Led Zeppelin and the Meters. And personally, for me, it was just something I'm more drawn to, that type of music, the riffs and what I naturally want to write. Another big influence in Odd Soul and the creation of Odd Soul for me personally was Afrobeat and high life music from Nigeria and Ghana. This record in particular was a big record for me, and I was listening and kind of diving back into this style of music. So let me give you a little background on the creation of Odd Soul. Coming off of Armistice, I think we learned that we just had too many cooks in the kitchen when we were creating and finishing the record. We had managers, A&R, producers, friends, just too many people weighing in on what should be the sound and how we should finish this record. So with Odd Soul, we took the opposite approach. We didn't let anyone hear what we were creating for a long, long time. It was Paul, Darren, and me creating, writing, and finishing this record, and to the point that we felt comfortable to show it to people. At that point then, the new regime that was at Warner Brothers, which was Rob Cavallo, Julian Raymond, Jamie Neely, were really the people that were kind of on the end once we finished the record and did some sessions in LA and in New Orleans. But for the most part, we were self-quarantined in Paul's house, writing and creating this record. And I would come in and out. I was still living in Miami, and I remember one of the first sessions that we did, I had just finished getting to New Orleans, had driven 14 hours from Miami to New Orleans, and literally got out of the car, unpacked my stuff, and sat down and started tracking. It was an intense time, but it was really fun. And I remember a lot of the process that we did was we would just jam. And I remember being kind of in this the control room was in a bedroom, and there was like a little hallway, and then there was a living room area where the drums are set up. And Darren and I would just jam, and I could see Paul in the control room, and I could see Darren, and we would just play and just go for it and just see what happened out of thin air, really. So let's jump into the mechanics of it as well. So you have, like I said, a lot of sections in the song. It's a really long song. I look at it basically almost like 3 large sections or 3 mini songs into one big thing. So you have the first half, and in that half you have the intro. You have A riff. And you have the B riff. Then you have the second half of the song, which has also this kind of main riff. We'll call the main riff of that the C riff, which I jokingly call the Soundgarden part. Then you have this melodic hook. And then you have a little turnaround piece that has more of a vocal hook in it. And then you have the last part, or the outro part, that starts to take a different form. It's more percussive. It does have some melodic themes from the earlier parts of the song woven into it. And the bass approach on that one is very different. It's more subdued. All right, so let's look at the intro. It just starts off with this kind of like trill picking at E on the 12th fret of the low E string. Right? That kind of idea. And then you go up a half step to F, to F sharp. Just build up that tension. All right, so let's take a look at the main riff in the first part of the song. After the intro, you go right into this. Right. And right there, I'm playing from B to C sharp, or 7 to 9 on the low E string, open E to the 2nd fret of the E string, F sharp, and then on the 12, kind of doing get a little bit of bend on that, back to the B to C sharp. So the whole thing goes. And you have a little variation here. We hit the F sharp twice. So here's the whole thing. All right, and then it goes into this next section, which it slows down. And that transition just kind of happened. I don't even know, like we didn't talk about it or figure it out or map it out. It literally just like went into this thing. All right, so the B section, let me just play it first and then we'll break it down. All right, so let's look at that. It's basically the same riff played in 2 different sections, or 2 different root notes. All right, so the B section starts off in B flat. And I'm just thinking in like a pentatonic kind of idea. So the first note is B flat, and then you have this kind of a slide up into an F, right? To the flat third, or D flat, right? To a B flat or the 8th of the D string. And then you kind of just come down the scale, pentatonic. So you have a flat, A flat, F, E flat, D flat. Back to the B flat. Okay, and then the same thing happens, but you have G as the root, really. So you start in G, and same thing, up to a same pattern, up to a D on the high G string, to a B flat, to a G on the D on the 5th fret, up to the 5th fret of the G string C. So, and then come down the pentatonic, F, D, C, B flat. And then I would connect the 2 with a little bit of chromatic walk up on the D string from the 5th up to the 8th. Chromatically down. you kind of have this just like triplet hits that works you back into the higher tempo of the A part of the A riff, you can call it. Triplet, triplet, and then so you're back into A. So all right, so let's move on to the rest of the song. You have this little, right, where the tempo changes to 177 BPM is how I look at it, and you just have that looping. And what I remember happening there, I was trying to create these cool loops with the guitar using just like a simple loop pedal. I think I was using a DD7 or DD5, I can't remember. I think it's a DD7 that had a short loop function, which was cool and was really great, but it's not any good for really for live, or really I guess for recording so much, because the problem with it is the loop eventually drifts. It just does not lock in solid with anything. So, but I want to say Darren recorded some of that and chopped it up and treated it more like a sample and put it into this. So it was just kind of me messing around with the guitar. So you have this high little riff happening over this, right? Right? This riff always reminds me of Soundgarden. You have B to C sharp on the low E string, 7 to 9, and then on the top, you're going 9 to 11, right? And then I'm doing these little ghost notes in between. And then you have the E flat, C sharp to F sharp, right? So that's going on. So then next, I call it the melodic riff of the second part of the song. It goes like this. All right, so let's break that down. We have that B to C sharp, then a high C sharp to a B, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, back to the F sharp, E, C sharp, B, C sharp, right? So here it is slow, and you kind of slide into that, so high C sharp. Again, and then instead of going down to the C sharp to B, you hit it, you end it on the F sharp, the low F sharp. Back to the Soundgarden part. Okay, and then there's this little turnaround that just kind of breaks down, which is really, I think, the big, it's like kind of a vocal, more of a vocal hook, where you go to this G sharp, right, to a B, F sharp, and then back to the melodic part. And then that goes back in to this on the second time around, kind of like the second verse in a way, but then it modulates for a minute and goes down a minor third, kind of like and the other section where it'd go from B flat to a G. So this section then moves to a B flat, what I call the Soundgarden part. So that is A flat to B flat, and then again high, the octave above, right? And then you get out of that by playing B flat, A flat, E flat, D flat. And then back to the original part with C sharp as the tonal center. And then the little turnaround again. Right? Which leads you to the outro. And the outro, I really we'd have a lot of fun with as well, because the outro was just percussive section, very polyrhythmic. I always looked at it as kind of me playing maybe like a triplet part over what Darren was doing. So if it's kind of this polyrhythmic thing where this is the bass, my left hand would be the bass. So that kind of polyrhythmic idea. So if the beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the bass is, it's kind of playing a triplet against that. As far as the gear, by the way, I'm using, you're hearing right now, a clean DI. I did not use this bass. I used the T40 with round wounds on this record. And I try to create it roughly close to what you're hearing now. It's a clean DI mixed with the MXR classic distortion pedal as well. And I have a ABY splitting those, and then it's going straight into my Apollo. So yeah, one of my favorite songs on Odd Soul. I'm so happy this made it to the final record, and that it was just very loose, very inspirational. It wasn't really thought out. We just kind of jammed, and we made it work into this piece of music that was always a lot of fun to play live, and seemed like a lot of people liked it. I definitely did. So I hope you like this tutorial. I hope you got something from it. It's kind of a difficult song to talk about and teach because it's all over the place. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope everyone's doing well in this, crazy time of quarantine, self-quarantine, or sometimes government imposed distancing, whatever you want to call it. I hope, we'll get through this. Everyone stay positive and go play your instruments and try to, better yourself in some way. I definitely am trying to really focus on that and focus on my family and have good times with them and make this a positive memory. We'll see you around. Take care. 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 Take care.